Now we'll begin adding a smoother fall off to our deformations. So we'll be working with the right arms hose. Let's go ahead and select the control, and on frame 1 we'll press Shift W to lock in translate keys. Now we can go to frame 12 and move the arm just so we can see the hose bending. And then from there we'll press Shift W again. So now we have this animation here that we can work with. Now let's select our character, and we'll want to go to the attribute editor with the character selected so we can access its skin cluster. Here is where we turn on our max influence, or actually switch our max influence value. So if we check that on, we can actually switch our number from here. We'll switch it to 2. So now we'll have a total of 2 bones that can influence each vertex. Alright, now that that's done, we can go back to our channel box. What we'll also go ahead and do is, in the component editor, under the smooth skin tab, we'll make sure that we turn off the locks that we have on a few of our objects. So that was for the hoses at the back. Make sure we turn those off, because we might run into warnings as we start to add a little bit more fall off in a few areas. So to avoid them, we can just again turn or unlock those bones or objects that we had locked. Alrighty, so we can now get to just editing our envelope here. We could start by working with the vertices that are following this arm. Okay, for the right side, we do want to make sure that we are focusing on the right side. Okay, notice these weights are going fully to the arm here, when in reality we'd probably want them following a little bit more of the chest. So knowing that, what I like to do is control click the chest category, and then also control click what other basically what other sections that we'd like to work with. So that's the arm, we'll control click that, and we'll also control click the elbow. With all of these selected, we can now go to layout and go to show selected columns. Now this really limits our view to what we really need to focus on and nothing else. So you can see how much of a help it's going to be. From there, knowing that these should go more to the chest, we can now just select the chest column and start moving. And as we do, notice how we're able to edit our envelope here. This is looking really nice already. Great. Now we can go to the vertices adjacent to it, hit wireframe, and also go to the move tool so we can see where the pivot's at to make sure that only these are selected. And once we've made sure of that, now we can bring more of these to the arm. So let's go ahead and adjust those so that they're following more of the arm. And we can even grab the vertices that are next to those and make sure that we move them. And again, be careful not to select any others that we don't need. Just the ones around the edge loop. Now, another way we can select vertices around an edge loop, this is very convenient, I feel. If we go to edge mode and select just one, we can now hold control and right click and go down to edge loop utilities and select edge loop. Now only the edges around this loop are selected. From there we can hold control, right click, and now go to vertices, and now only these vertices are selected. So that's just a little tip for, again, selecting the right vertices. Now with those selected, I think again these could go more to the arm, so we'll add more of a weighting here, and we want to be mindful of how the other sections are looking. If you look at this, if we were to go to a shaded view, you can see, alright, that might be a little bit too much, it's moved. So we'll probably want to bring that back more to the chest, and that'll be very nice. And then going to the next, again we can go ahead and just select the edge, one edge here, right click, go to edge loop utilities, edge loop, right click, go to vertices, and then hit 4 just to double check and make sure that we have the right vertices selected. From there we can add just a really slight amount of fall off here. So we'll select the arm and just add just not much at all. Maybe even Um, just wanted to see if we even added too much or needed to add a little bit more. Maybe we could even bring more to the chest here. We could even try 0.9. Alright, so I think that'll be just fine. Alright, so that brings us to our other vertices. We can select the ones down the line here, and we'd probably want to switch back to vertex mode. Alright, so with these could go a little bit more to the chest. So we'll go to our chest and move those a little bit closer. And then for the ones for the, also for the arm, they could probably follow a little bit more of the chest as well. So we'll work on that. And now these that are following the elbow, they can follow the arm a little bit more. So we can select these. Make sure that just the ones we need are selected. And again, it helps to have the move tool so you can see that where the pivot is. If it's centered around the ring, then you're just fine. Okay, so again, these could go more to the arm. Can increase their value there. Notice how much better the hose is looking now. Great. Now it's really deforming as a tube would. We have a few more areas here we can get to. So I'll just frame this region and swing the camera around. Go back to edge mode. Select one of the edges here. Edge loop. And then 2 vertices. And then from here, we can go ahead and bring these more to the arm as well. And we're just about done. This is really, I believe we've come to the last section that we'd want to work on. So, again, selecting its edge, we should already be in edge mode. Go to vertice and add a little bit more weight to the arm. So what do we end up with? Let's see how this is all coming together. If we scroll back and forth now, looking at the hose, we can see that, alright, now this is really looking very nice. Much better than it was before. Great. And I think that's going to work quite well for us. You can go through and edit a few areas, maybe possibly even this section here. Can right click, again, just make sure we go to the edge loop, go to its vertice, and in the component mode, let's see, this looks like it can possibly go more to the chest. I'll bring up the camera here and increase. Alright, that might be a little bit too much, so we can bring that back to the right arm, not the left. Careful not to go to the left because it's very easy to do that. So we'll go to our right arm, add a little bit more. Alright, that'll be just fine. And any other tweaks you can definitely make, but I think I'm going to go ahead and stop here on the changes for this hose. Alright, great. So once we're done with this section, we can now go ahead and remove our keys. Just delete them, making sure everything's brought back to its default. So there it is. Alrighty, well, now that that's done, okay, other areas that you'd want to probably pay close attention to are things like the arm, making sure that you're maintaining volume. Here would possibly be a nice, it'd probably give us a nice fall off if we were to tweak the, let's say, the right arm as well as the chest. If we were to bring some of these vertices so that they have a nice fall off between those two objects. Okay, we can, I'll just go ahead and do the right arm quickly so you get an idea of what you could do with the left. So with those selected, we'll just go ahead and focus on the right side, right arm. Can select that. And again, this is really just to make sure we're maintaining volume in the arm. So we could probably bring those back. And then for the point next to it, which is going totally to the right arm, we could bring that more to the chest. And these are just really minor tweaks too, so it's not going to be too noticeable, but then again, you never know. It's based off of where your character lies within the game. So it might not be a bad idea to go through and just make sure that the deltoids and other muscles are maintaining volume. Alright, but that completes this lesson. In the next lesson, we're going to get to the last task we're going to work on for the envelope, and we will be preparing a final file for you to give you an idea of other areas that you can tweak if you need to. So the last area are going to be on the hoses, the back hoses.